Jurgen Klopp is the driving force behind all of Liverpool's recent achievements. When he joined the team in 2015, they were struggling. In the previous 9 years, they'd only managed to win one trophy. However, everything has changed since Klopp's arrival. Liverpool has emerged as one of the most dominant teams in Europe. Under his guidance, they've claimed 6 titles, reached 9 finals, and even came close to achieving a quadruple last season. So, how did Klopp lead Liverpool to the pinnacle of English and European football? Furthermore, is there a risk that this remarkable team will be remembered as underachievers in the future? Before we delve into those questions, we kindly ask you consider subscribing to our channel. As of today, the former manager of Mainz and Borussia Dortmund has already earned a place among the esteemed ranks of Bob Paisley and Bill Shankly as one of Liverpool's most influential coaches. But let's step back and revisit the events of the past few years. On October 8th, 2015, Liverpool made the announcement that Jurgen Klopp would be taking over as Brendan Rodgers' successor, even though the season was already in progress. At that point, after 8 games, the team found themselves in 10th place in the Premier League, having accumulated 12 points out of a possible 24. During his inaugural year, Klopp implemented a 4-2-3-1 formation. Unfortunately, he was unable to reverse the team's inconsistent performance in the Premier League, and they ultimately finished in 8th place. However, Klopp did manage to guide the team to 2 finals, albeit without success. They suffered a defeat on penalties against City in the League Cup and were also bested by Sevilla in the Europa League final, following a remarkable journey that saw them eliminate Manchester United, Borussia Dortmund, and Villarreal along the way. During the summer, Klopp embarked on the task of moulding the Liverpool team of tomorrow, which involved significant player departures. In exchange, key figures such as Joel Matip, Sadio Mane, and Georginio Wijnaldum were brought in. Klopp's noteworthy accomplishment in that particular season was guiding Liverpool to secure a place in the prestigious Champions League. With a commendable total of 76 points, the Reds finished 4th in the standings, trailing behind both Manchester City and Tottenham. However, they still had a considerable gap to bridge to catch up with Antonio Conte's Chelsea, who were crowned champions with an impressive 93 points. In the 2017-18 season, Klopp's approach to team building was vindicated, as Liverpool continued to make impactful signings. Mohamed Salah, Andy Robertson, and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain joined the squad during the summer, while Trent Alexander-Arnold made a definitive breakthrough and Jordan Henderson solidified his position as a regular starter. Anfield fell in love with the team's pressing style and Klopp's electrifying tactics, coupled with their incredible attacking prowess. During the winter transfer window, Philippe Coutinho left for Barcelona in a record-breaking €135 million deal. Liverpool capitalised on this significant sum to reinforce their defensive line, splurging €85 million on Virgil van Dijk from Southampton, making him the most expensive defender in history. Once again, Liverpool clinched a spot in the Champions League by finishing 4th in the Premier League with 75 points, though they fell 25 points short of champions Manchester City. However, the team's most significant progress was witnessed in European competition. They reached the Champions League final after defeating Porto, City and Roma. Unfortunately, in the final held in Kyiv, they suffered a 3-1 loss to Real Madrid. The following season brought a significant addition to the team with the signing of Alisson, addressing the previous struggles experienced with Loris Karius and Simon Mignolet in goal. This completed the squad and instilled confidence that Liverpool was back for the long haul. The midfield engine was further reinforced by acquiring Fabinho and Naby Keita, solidifying the team's resolve to compete at the highest level. The notable change, however, occurred in the Premier League. Liverpool finally achieved the consistency they'd been lacking in previous seasons, pushing Manchester City into a thrilling photo finish. Ultimately, Pep Guardiola's side emerged victorious on the final day with 98 points to Liverpool's incredibly close 97. Nevertheless, the Reds sought redemption in spectacular fashion by clinching their 6th Champions League title. Along the way, they triumphed over formidable opponents such as Bayern Munich, Porto and Barcelona. The cherry on top was their victory over Tottenham in the final at the Wanda Metropolitano, with goals from Salah and Origi sealing the triumph. In a decisive move to further propel the project, Klopp extended his contract until 2024, solidifying his commitment to the team's future success. Despite their recent Champions League triumph and reaching the final in Kyiv, the club's primary focus during the 2019-20 season had shifted to securing the Premier League title. This objective appeared daunting, considering Manchester City's dominant form in the previous 2 seasons. However, Klopp's team embarked on an extraordinary journey, starting the league campaign with an immaculate run. They remained unbeaten for 27 consecutive games from the beginning of the season. Eventually, with 7 games remaining, the Reds were crowned champions, finishing a remarkable 23 points ahead of City. This triumph marked the end of a 30-year drought without securing the league title. In Europe, however, Liverpool faced a significant setback just before the pandemic brought the season to a halt. They displayed resilience by forcing the match into extra time, but were ultimately eliminated in the last 16 by Atletico Madrid. In their relentless pursuit of excellence and continuous record-breaking, Liverpool made two significant additions the following year: Thiago Alcantara and Diogo Jota. The team began their league title defence on a positive note, ascending to the top of the table by matchday 15. However, their fortunes took a turn after Christmas. Suffering from long-term defensive injuries to key players, Liverpool found themselves vulnerable. Additionally, injuries to Thiago and Fabinho, coupled with Mane's dip in form, added to Liverpool's season to forget. They faced disappointing early exits from both the FA Cup and League Cup and were eliminated by Real Madrid in the Champions League quarter-finals. Even their qualification for the following year's Champions League via a top-4 finish in the Premier League hung in the balance. It was the dramatic 95th minute goal by Alisson in the crucial victory against West Brom that ultimately secured Liverpool's third-place finish and ensured their place in the Champions League. In the 2021-22 season, despite the difficulties, Liverpool remained determined and embarked on a rebuilding phase. The acquisition of Luis Diaz during the winter transfer window injected new energy into the team, contributing to their transformation in 2022. In fact, they managed to significantly narrow the gap between themselves and Manchester City, emerging as a genuine threat to their title rivals. Additionally, Liverpool regained their defensive solidity, keeping clean sheets in more than half their matches. That spectacular run wasn't enough to win the Premier League, but it did lead Liverpool to win the League Cup and FA Cup and to reach the Champions League final. At the conclusion of the season, Liverpool will have played an impressive total of 63 games, the maximum possible at the start of a campaign. Undoubtedly, there are many instances where winning 2 domestic trophies would be embraced warmly, and the celebratory bus parade would be met with joy rather than a sense of longing. Yet, given what Liverpool could have achieved, should have achieved, and would have wanted to achieve, we find ourselves grappling with a challenging question. Might this be one of those great nearly teams? It appears absurd to even propose such an idea. Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool have been champions of Europe, champions of the world, and the first Liverpool team to win the title in the modern Premier League era. Many even argue that this Liverpool team is one of the greatest in the club's storied history. In any other era, they would have likely dominated English football without question. However, teams, like athletes, don't have the luxury of selecting the era in which they shine. They play the game that's presented to them. And what stands before Liverpool are formidable opponents in the form of Manchester City and Real Madrid. Does this mean that they're not truly great? Absolutely not. Some of football's most magnificent teams have been labelled as nearly men. The Hungarian side that revolutionised the modern game never lifted the World Cup. The iconic Dutch Total Football failed to deliver a major trophy. The talented 1982 Brazilian World Cup squad didn't progress beyond the last 12 teams in the second group stage. Even winners can bear the mark of being nearly men. Don Revie's Leeds United, and later Jimmy Armfield's, won the league title twice, but ended up as runners-up on 5 occasions. They clinched the FA Cup once, but lost in 3 finals. Despite winning the UEFA Fairs Cup twice, they faltered in the finals of the European Cup and Cup Winners' Cup. They're remembered as much for what they could have won as for what they actually achieved. Was Liverpool's current team a great one? Undoubtedly. Therefore, the accumulated points tally that propelled them into second place, along with their 3 appearances in the Champions League final within 5 years, holds significant value. But has Jurgen Klopp underachieved with this exceptional team he's assembled? Considering his initial starting point, it's evident that Jurgen Klopp has done an exceptional job. With 6 trophies in 7 years, his accomplishments are undeniable. However, we count only 1 Premier League and 1 Champions League triumph. While winning the FA Cup, League Cup, Super Cup and Club World Cup is undoubtedly enjoyable in the moment, these victories tend to fade quickly from memory at top-tier clubs. Ultimately, it's the Premier League and the Champions League titles that truly define greatness. The notion that Liverpool has been unfortunate to coincide with the rise of Manchester City is understandable to some extent, but not entirely convincing. Under Klopp, City has only prevented Liverpool from winning 3 trophies, with one of them occurring in the early stages of Klopp's tenure during a League Cup competition. In fact, Liverpool has eliminated City from 3 different competitions since 2018. Furthermore, in the Premier League, Manchester United has finished as runners-up to City as many times as Liverpool has in the past 6 seasons. So Liverpool fans, the question remains, do you believe that Klopp has slightly underachieved since the 2018-2019 season onward? Last season was clearly the end of a cycle, and the upcoming campaign is being seen as the start of a new one. What do you believe lies ahead for Liverpool? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video engaging, we kindly encourage you to subscribe for future content. Thank you for watching.